streams live, and then I'll load up the save and make sure I actually am where I expect to be. Yeah, looks like we're online. Okay. Oh, what? It wants me to clear heavy machinery again. Great. I have said on a previous stream that this is one of the problems with the way this game save system works. Because I had cleared heavy machinery on the last stream, because that's where I got the save point from. But clearly that did not include the fact that the level was cleared. So that was a stupid start. Like I said, my suspicion is that the game doesn't actually save just everything. Well, I'm doing terribly to start with. I'm going to get game over. The game doesn't actually save like a full readout of your current game state. I think instead there's just a set of predefined game states that it can load into. So if you happen to save at a point that it doesn't have a good answer for, you lose some progress. I could be wrong. It could just be that it doesn't ever bring the progress forward of whatever level you was on if you save by getting tokens rather than getting a gem. The only reason I suspect that there's only a fixed number of saved states to be in is because it also has a password system, so the game has to have a password available for every single game state that you could possibly have. And I think, I could be wrong, but I don't think the passwords are an encoding of actual data. I think they are just like keys into a hash table. So. Suffice to say, I've not ever decompiled this game to check. In case anyone's curious, I probably am gonna say anyone. There's no one watching, and nobody was watching the previous stream. Nevertheless, the Sonic 3 stream that I was doing, the previous stream, I am going to get back to that, but the save file is currently on my laptop. So, I shall need to get that off onto my desktop PC for more comfortable streaming setup. Tonight's probably the best night I've got for streaming for this week. The remainder of the week I might be able to fit in an hour in later in the evening, but not much more than that, if that is even viable. But then following 2 weeks or so, I've got a few evening plans, but apart from that I should be pretty available. This is the problem with part of Twitch saying how you get more serious as a streamer. It involves setting up a schedule and stuff, and I just, even at the best of the times, my life is all over the place so much that I can't commit to a schedule. It's not the worst thing in the world that we're being made to replay this level, because I did miss out on the gem the last time round. So we would have had to revisit this when we was on the approach to 100% completion anyway. So right. Brio bonus. Oh yes, I remember. Oh, never mind, I messed it up. I always mess up the Brio bonuses, I don't know why. I was going to say, on the last stream, I actually was doing okay. I reached the first exclamation mark box. and then I assumed that the boxes it generates would appear quick enough for me to move straight onto without taking a break, and I assumed wrong. The way that these launch pads make the camera jerk is very nauseous. I'm hoping that I'm right in my recollection. We did test this on a previous stream. Nevertheless, I'm hoping that I'm right in my recollection that dying before you hit the first checkpoint still leaves you eligible for the gem. Yes, it does. So yeah, being made to replay that was not entirely a waste of time, because we would have had to come back here anyway. And for some reason, when you load a save game, it doesn't then put the save screen on the save that you just loaded. Not that it would have been the end of the world if I'd ever written my Spyro save, given that I just 100%ed that, but... Right, I know there's a blue gem in this level, so... We're not getting the gem on the first try. It might be possible to do it anyway with some tricky jumping. What have I got? But I'm not gonna attempt it. I never quite remember the route you're meant to take through this anyway, because it's quite... The problem is this is one of the only levels in Crash 1 to include branching paths. Oh. Oh, that sucks. It ate the mask. I know you're meant to bear right all the way. Sorry, I just had a text message. Okay. Yeah, you're meant to bear right all the way up till this point, because this is a dead end with a exclamation mark box in it, I believe. Could be wrong. Yeah, so there's an exclamation mark box there that you need for somewhere down the line. Again, it's a bit redundant because without the blue gem and without doing some tricky speedrun tech, I'm not gonna... Oops, not too far there. I'm not gonna be getting the box gem anyway, so I think you backtrack this way and then the blue gem path is over to the left, but I forget how far forward you have to push this way first before you do the backtrack. I don't know if you just have to hit the checkpoint and then you get sorted. I don't know. Maybe you need to get that box, or maybe you need to get the checkpoint and then it's easier just to backtrack back for that box afterwards. Quite frankly, I always end up looking up a guide for what the right route for this level is. It's hard enough clearing out these levels with breaking up the boxes just from the execution, let alone having to trial and error your way into actually knowing what the route is that you're meant to take. Other levels that we might possibly prefer to get the gem on first try are Slippery Climb and the Lab. Slippery Climb I have managed to do first try before. I died a bunch of times before hitting the first checkpoint, but from the first checkpoint on I was fine. I think that was the last time I played Insane Trilogy, that was the outcome. Whereas I don't think I've ever done the Lab first try, so it's taken me a few tries. These Cortex screens are very odd. So if I remember right, this is where we get the brown gem from. I think it's brown. It's one of the colour gems anyway. It's kind of the problem with Crash 1 in terms of the coloured gem situation. So many of the levels require you to get a coloured gem, to have a coloured gem in order to collect the box gem. And all but one of the coloured gems are on this third island. God, making some of these jumps is not helped by the dark lighting. I had my misgivings for Crash 4, but one of the things that was definitely a value add in that game was just having the drop shadow beneath your character when you were making jumps. It just made things so much nicer.
What have I got?
It's fine. Oh. This is not a game that is kind to its players. I keep expecting there to have been a box like suspended over one of these like box stacks that I'm blowing up, and it just freaks me the hell out. It's gonna make me replay the whole thing if I've missed one. Oh, I never like these jumps. Okay. We're through. So the only remaining question is, do they get all the boxes? Yep. That's good, we never have to come back here again. I really need to stop looking over at the my Twitch window, because it's just... there's enough delay in the feed that I'm waiting for it to prompt me to continue, and I'm just like, oh wait, hold on, it's already prompting me, I'm just looking at the wrong screen. Cafeteria level I always found surprisingly difficult. It's a strange level. So a lot of Crash 1's design to me feels like Naughty Dog were looking at 2D platformers and trying to replicate what worked in those games in a 3D space. And this level almost feels like they would literally just try and make Donkey Kong. Oops. That's not a good start. What kind of works against it is just the perspective. Especially, so later on you get bouncy barrels thrown at you. So you need to know whether you're going above. Effectively, you either have to commit to jumping over them while they're low, or go under them while they're high. You know, as you do in a platforming game. Problem is, it's really quite difficult to judge which of those states they're in. So here's the first bouncy barrel. I think it's about every 1 in 3 is going to be bouncing there. Yeah. Oh, great. There goes my gem. Problem's going to be now that's going to make me just play incredibly clumsily. Because there's kind of no reason for me to take it safe, apart from my own life count. And that just cost me a save point. Oh, this game is harsh. Oh, I thought it always bounced at the top of the slope. Well, I kind of got that one about as wrong as I could do without actually just actively getting stuck on it. Right, Pinstripe's pretty mediocre boss. They introduced a mechanic that they only explain by way of that little cutscene, which doesn't actually really explain anything. So while you're behind these tipped over chairs at the front of the room, and Crash kind of puts his arms over his head, you're considered to be in cover and the bullets he's shooting won't hit you. Otherwise, he's guaranteed to hit you. It's effectively just a hit scam. So after 3 hits, he stops walking between cover points and starts just shooting constantly. But then his gun starts to jam. The final hit, the gun always jams when it's still on top of the table. Quite a tight time window from right. Not too tight. Pretty boring boss fight. Not a lot to say for it. Oh boy, the high road. So we're deep in the territory of the game being somewhat pitted against us now. So this level in particular sucks to start with because you've got this area back here that you need to know exists if you want to get the box gem, with an invisible path that is not fully fleshed out. You do need to make those jumps. Why does that thing's hitbox extend that far? I don't remember whether this level requires a coloured gem to get the box gem. I know that Road to Nowhere requires the pink gem. I don't remember whether this one needs any gems. Also, I never acknowledged this as a kid, but that's meant to be Cortex Castle in the background there. And so this level has the same backdrop in this version as in the earlier rope bridge level. But in the earlier rope bridge level, you were on the second island, so it made sense that Cortex Castle looked that far away. Whereas in this level, it's taking place on the third island, so actually it should be a lot closer. From what I remember, they did actually fix that in Insane Trilogy. Might have just screwed myself. Yep, I screwed myself. Should we try the rope strategy? We can try it. I'm not necessarily going to be good at it. So I definitely mentioned this when I did the previous road level. I may not have actually done it. So the rope on these bridges does actually have a hitbox. And if you jump very carefully, you can get crashed on top of it and circumvent most of the hazards in the level. The only problem with doing that is, as you might expect, it's somewhat precarious. Made even more so in Insane Trilogy because I think I mentioned this on a previous stream. In Insane Trilogy, I want to say it's based on Crash 3's physics model. I could be wrong. It could just be a decision they entirely made for Insane Trilogy. I've not done the research to double check. But long story short, in the original PlayStation 1 release of Crash... Oh, I wasn't even fucking looking at what I was doing. In the original PS1 release of Crash 1, Crash's hitbox is modelled as a box. His collision mesh is just a rectangle around him. So as long as any part of the underside of Crash is supported by land, Crash will not fall down a pit. In Insane Trilogy, they changed Crash's model to be what's typically referred to as a pill shape. So it's got a rounded top and a rounded bottom. The net effect of that is that if you get a little off-center on, for instance, a rope bridge on a thin platform, Crash can just slide off it. He's not perfectly steady on anything that's he can stand on. Which does make certain tricks are a little bit harder to do in Insane Trilogy. I know back when the Insane Trilogy first released, I believe there was something of a campaign by more hardcore Crash runners, Crash players, particularly in the speedrun community, to patch that out. But Vicarious Visions never went back and revisited that. I don't think it's a massive problem in reality, but okay, and looks like we wouldn't have needed a gem to get the box gem on High Road, so good to know. Right, so if we climb. Between this and the lab, these represent... This is either the hardest level in the game, or the second hardest level in the game, I would say. And I talked about how when I was only like 6 or however old I was, I got stuck at the first river level. This is probably where I got stuck for the longest time prior to being a teenager. Not that I went back and replayed this all that often once I had like a PS2 and the like, but nevertheless, this I distinctly remember just putting the game down because I got to this stage and could not clear it. That's stupid. And of course there is also Stormy Ascent, which is the second level with this kind of level theme that remains on the game disc but was effectively patched out of the game effectively in that they made it so there was no way to legitimately get into the level and it didn't count towards your completion percentage. You know, it's still on the disc in the sense of we had it, it's there, but it's not accessible without using external tools. And that's the level that they brought back as a bonus for Insane Trilogy. And that one is legitimately really quite difficult. At least the Insane Trilogy version is. I can't imagine the PS1 version being much easier, but I've never played it. In fact, I didn't even realise that level existed until they brought out the... Oh, those platforms take longer than I thought to come back up. Yeah, I didn't even realise that Stormy Ascent existed until they patched it into the Insane Trilogy. So as much as I would probably say that Crash 1, if gun to my head, if I had to rank the 3 original Crash games, I'd say Crash 1 is probably my least favourite. I also think Crash 1 probably has some of the best pure platforming of the 3. Because if you're willing to overcome, if you don't succumb to the difficulty of this is genuinely actually a pretty well-designed level. Unsurprisingly, for a game that was effectively trying to translate 2D platformers into a 3D setting, the levels where it does actually just operate in pretty much 2D space are probably some of its best. That was stupid. So This is kind of mirroring the last time I played this level on Insane Trilogy. I had loads of stupid deaths prior to getting to the first checkpoint, and then just managed to blitz the remainder of the level as soon as I hit that first checkpoint. So right now we're still eligible for the gem, and this is I forget which coloured gem this is, but there is a coloured gem associated with this level. Meaning that not only do you need the gem for this, but also this is preventing me from getting gems in other levels. I'm curious how much of the design changes that took place between Crash 1 and Crash 2 were driven by a genuine, like, directed, this is how we think we can improve how this game plays, as opposed to Universal want us to get out another game within a year and building an entire world map again, what have you, is not a great use of our time to get that done. I don't know, speculation. I also find it odd that these enemies that are behind the grates that stick their arms out at you get reinterpreted as like aged prisoners in Insane Trilogy, which I always saw them as more like monstrous in this game. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's hard to know. It's quite a long run to the first checkpoint. Completely forgotten. I don't know why they have these weird platforms that kind of loop around a thing. Right, we've got a first scientist. Oh, fuck. Okay. We're alive. Oh, fucking hell. Right, there goes my gem. Yes, as much as the stream title says we're only going for the first ending on the stream, the more gems I can get this time round... Oh. I thought I could get under that. The more gems I can get first time round, the less I'm having to revisit coming back to this game. Because I'm a glutton for punishment, and if I'm going to play Crash 1, I'm going to play it to completion. Oh. I think Oh, god damn it. I'm just wasting lives now. I was going to say, I think I recall those slippery platforms being a bit less aggressive in Insane Trilogy. Like, you've got a bit... Because I'm finding it's eating my jump inputs and all sorts. Like, I just can't get off it once it's down. But, I feel like I had a bit more control in Insane Trilogy. Yeah, I was going to say, I think Crash 4 is probably the only game, is probably a game I'm not ever going to attempt to get to 100% completion on. Just the amount that game wants you to do to get that far. There's already too many damn boxes in every stage, and then add that onto, you've got to do that at least twice over because of the inverted stages, and then you've got to also clear every level, getting all the boxes without a death. It's just a lot to ask. And quite frankly, it's just not something I'm interested in doing. Well, I actually managed to clear a Brio bonus. That makes a change. As previously stated, in the PS1 version of the game, the Brio bonuses are entirely optional. There's nothing you get out of them besides extra lives. Speaking of, I'm not even going to bother trying to get that. It's not the most difficult thing to get in the world, but why bother taking the risk if I'm already not eligible for the gem? I'm trying to remember where the next save point is. I'm not sure. Right, we're on this level. So this is another level with a unique mechanic that only appears in this level and the hidden level that has the same kind of level theme. Which is that the level is dark. Collecting a mask illuminates it, which for one thing means it disables the fact that collecting multiple masks gives you additional points of damage you can take, and then eventually renders you invincible. The masks no longer accumulate like that. It also means that losing a mask by taking a hit, or doing something like that where you accidentally collect a mask early by flinging an enemy away, suddenly becomes a lot more dangerous because it can render you without a source of light. As you can see, the edges of the level do have collision, so you can kind of cheese your way through mistakes if need be. We won't get in the gem this run anyway, because we need the gem from the lab first to be able to be eligible for it. You'll notice that after we pass that yellow gem, all of the masks from that point forward in the level are just loose masks, and there are also no more checkpoints. The reason for that is because the yellow gem does not return you back to the main path. So there's about 4 boxes up there and an alternate level exit. So once you've been up there, you just don't come back. Yeah, so the whole situation of them completely overriding the way that masks work for the sake of these 2 levels, they fixed that in Crash 2 and 3 by instead of having the masks be responsible for your illumination, they instead have fireflies that start to track you when you go past them. That also does a better job of justifying why the light fades after a certain time. So if you aren't moving quick enough in this level, the masks eventually just stop providing illumination until you go collect a fresh one. In Crash 2 and 3, those fireflies just fly off after a period of time. So I think it's a lot better communicated in those games than it is in this game. Precisely what's actually happening there. Given that we didn't see a gem path in the previous temple level we did, this one will need the blue gem. So I know one of the temple levels needs a blue gem to get all the crates, so that'll be this one, because we didn't see any gem paths on the previous level that we did. Oh god. Oh, I was a bit eager on that flame jump, wasn't I?
What have I got?
I always forget just how generous this game is with life boxes. Part of what throws me off is, so Insane Trilogy has achievements for getting your life total up to 99 lives, effectively capping it out. And in Crash 3, that is pretty damn trivial to do. I recall Crash 1 and 2 being a lot harder to cap it out. I could be wrong though, maybe Crash 1 wasn't as hard as all that. Right, I forgot there's a key in this level. In fact, not only is there a key in this level, if I remember right, one of the boxes holding a Cortex token is next to an enemy, so you've got to be really careful, because if the enemy breaks the box, I think it flings the Cortex token away. Right, there's the blue gem path that we can't take. Either that or the Cortex token on the blue gem path. I feel like I remember that there's some complication around the Cortex token. Now this bit sucks. That's just a whole heaping pile of getting screwed over by perspective. Yeah, assuming that one of those Cortex my mouth isn't working today. Assuming that one of those Cortex tokens isn't on the that's where it was. Right. I was going to say, assuming one of the tokens isn't on the blue gem path, it would be nice to get the key out of this level on this run. We're going to have to come back here at least once more anyway to get the gem, but I knew there was some way that you can end up missing that Cortex token. Because I had that happen to me once on... is there an invisible path to the left there? I'm not keen to find out, quite frankly. Because they pulled that trick in the other temple level where they use a fruit to show you, hey, there's a path over this way, but I don't really want to faff about with that right now. I'm more worried about when these bats are coming out. Well, I missed a Cortex token. So either it's on the blue gem route or it's where that presumably invisible path was. Problem for another day. Now, unfortunately, because we missed the green gem earlier, we're not going to get to see the fun path through Castle Machinery. Because Castle Machinery has a very fun path through it. Because the gimmick of this level is that the exit's just over there, but we have to drop down this hole and circumnavigate the entire level to get back there. But the green gem is hovering about here, and if you've unlocked it, you get to go straight up above where the level exit is, and there's a path with about 30 lives up there that just takes you straight to the other side of that chasm where the exit is. And if you do it before you've got the box gem out of this level, you get a fun animation where Crash gets hit on the head by every single box in the level. Not like a special animation, it's just the usual animation you get for beating a level without losing a life but also missing boxes. It just happens that if you've done that, you've missed every box in the level just by default.
What have I got?
In hindsight, I'm a bit surprised that I never questioned why there wasn't another level in the same style as Slippery Climb in the game, because every other level, the level style is replicated, well, not replicated, but reused for another level at some point. Which makes sense. If you're going to be designing a game, oh god, hold on. Ah, my pop filter's just dropped. It does that because it doesn't screw in very well. That's what I get for buying something cheap. What was I saying? Yeah. It makes sense to just build a set of level assets and reuse them for multiple layouts. Why bother spending a lot of development resource making fresh level assets for every single level you design? I'm hoping there wasn't something hidden up on that aisle edge. So I know for a fact that you don't need the coloured gem to get the gem out of this level. Because the only thing you use the colour gem for is to get to that hidden path with all the lives on it. Again, if I take a death, it hardly matters anyway. I've already hit a checkpoint at this point, so I'm not eligible for a mulligan. The last section of this level always stresses me out because it's similar to the end of Generator Room. Oh, this is stressful as well. Okay. Never mind, we're not getting the box gem. So let's not even bother trying anymore. This is part of the reason why Crash 1 is so fucking cruel with its requirements for getting the box gems. Namely that you have to clear it in one, without taking a death. Again, relaxed it a little in Insane Trilogy, but not entirely. Is that platform coming back down, or am I just dead? No, it's coming back down. Yeah, Insane Trilogy, the requirement turned into if it's a clear gem, you don't have to clear it in one life. If it's a coloured gem, you still do, but you also have to. The boxes in the bonus stages are now included in the total, which makes it trickier in some aspects. Well, we're on the home stretch. Brio is not a bad fight, but it's an odd one. In the original version of the game, there's no justification for why the way you damage him actually works. So if you get too close to him, he just smashes his vials together and just immediately hurts you. But he keeps spawning these slimes that can only be jumped on. Although I'm fucking that up. And jumping on the slimes hurts him. Between each phase of slimes, he throws those pink vials which just explode. I'm getting caught up in all geometry. So yeah, in the PS1 version of the game, there's no real justification giving why jumping on the slime hurts him. This is going brilliantly. Pretty much the exact same as what happened the first time. Yeah, in the Insane Trilogy they did change it so that every time you jump on a slime it like squirts out a blast that hits him in the face, just to give him an animation to justify why he should be getting hurt by it. Oh yeah, I forgot, the slimes do eventually just stop moving if they're left if they're able to stay alive long enough. So even if you're not good at getting on them nice and quick, you do have a chance to get them sooner. So he drinks that, turns into like a hulking thing. He slams the force, drop a rock down, he gets to jump on his head. This phase is kind of easy, although I vaguely remember that they did something weird with the hitbox in Insane to make it harder. They also added an animation at the end of Insane where he actually crashes through that back window, rather than just falling on the floor. Right, the lab, which is probably the other of the top two hardest levels in this game. So the main gimmick here is that there's a lot of timing-based skulls. So some of them are you're hitting these switches to control it yourself, some of them are just purely global timers. somewhere in this level, I don't know whether it's this room or a later room, there is one of these stacks of boxes that just, yeah, it's there. Just a TNT crate in the middle of it. Because they're clearly encouraging you just to spin through the damn thing. And blow yourself up. And the bonus stage is very early in this level, just because they presumably think, yeah, you're going to want to save early on. See that jump there? In this version of the game, it's not a problem, you don't care, it's fine. In Insane Trilogy, there's a box that you can only reach for that top spring box. So if you accidentally break that bottom spring box, if you accidentally break the top spring box by bouncing into the underside of it, you effectively have to just suicide out the bonus stage and try again. I mean, that's one of the nice things about Insane Trilogy, requiring you to do the bonus stages. You can reattempt them if you die during your attempt, which you can't in this one. Like, if I failed to clear that bonus stage, the only way I'd be able to do it would be to quit out the level and start again. Oh, I think that particular door has killed me in Insane Trilogy before. Because the trigger for keeping it open once you've gone past it is not quite as close as you expect it to be. Oh, this fucking slime. And they keep respawning. Okay, the slime stopped respawning. Thought it would cheese it. Okay, well hopefully if I didn't miss any boxes we don't have to ever do that level again. Oh, thank God. Managed to get 2 of the harder coloured gems on the first attempt. Still have to go back and redo Slippery Climb. Great Hall is at this point a nothing level, so we'll follow this path as far as we can go. So the gimmick here is that the level exit is right in front of us, but you have these clear gems here. So there's only 2 that are solid right now, and that's because I've only collected 2. The idea is that the alternate ending to the game is at the end of a long path of jumping over all these clear gems. So this is where you come back to once you've collected every clear gem in the game. But until you've got them, it's just a little pass through to get to the final boss. So this is another thing where the game does not explain the gimmick to you at all. So he shoots these pistol blasts at you. The green ones you can spin back to him. But the way it works is that on each phase of the fight, you have to hit increasing number of green ones to be able to actually hit them back. So it's 2 in this phase, 3 on the next phase, and then it starts winding back down again. Now, you don't have to necessarily hit them consecutively. If I miss one now, that one that's at the top of the screen is just permanently there. That's fine. Right, this phase where it just goes ham. Then the final phase, you just repeatedly shoots green ones at you. And that's the first ending of Crash 1. Now I want to say that getting this ending drops you back to the title screen. So what I don't remember is the save point immediately before this. So obviously there's the Torna bonus stage in the lab, and also I managed to successfully get the gem in the lab. If I'd cleared the Torna stage in the lab and not got the gem and saved there, would that have given me a save file that just had direct access to Cortex? Because again, if you just go straight on from the lab to do the final boss, and then it kicks you out to title screen at the end of the credits, you're not going to have an opportunity to actually save the fact that you cleared the lab. And having to revisit the lab if you've, is not a fun thing. Admittedly, I didn't have too much trouble with it this time round, which is surprising. Strange. Anyway, I will duck away for a minute to go get a drink. I will leave you guys with the credits. I say you guys, again, Twitch is reporting 1 viewer, which I'm pretty sure is just me. Whatever, I'm doing it for my sake. Solid. But yeah, I'll go fetch a drink. And I won't stream for too much longer tonight. I mostly just wanted to get ending 1 out of the way. But I will possibly look into... What am I going to do? I think I'm at least going to try and get maybe the green colour gem. Because I want to show off that the second route in Castle Machinery before I cut the box gem there, and therefore we can't do it anymore. Depending on how long that takes me, I might also make an attempt at Slippery Climb to get the colour gem out of that. I want to say there's 6 coloured gems in Crash 1, but I can't think. Because even if I get the ones in Lost City and Slippery Climb, that only leaves us at, 4 collected so far? We've got the one in Generator Room and we've got the one in the lab. They're the only 2 coloured gems we've got so far. And there's one in Slippery Climb and there's one in... I don't know that I've ever sat and watched this demo. Is it desynced? Or is the demo actually... What is happening? This looks like it's desynced. Because what Crash is doing makes no sense relative to what's going on the stage. I don't think that's meant to happen. What the hell was that? Anyway, I was going to go get a drink. Just gone for a small glass of Bailey's for now, but I'll probably get a cup of tea a little bit later on. Right, let's see where the hell the save files dropped us at. Oh, 1% short of nice. Nope, the game wants me to clear the lab again. Even though I've got the gem out the lab and therefore must have cleared it, I'm going to have to beat it again to get back to Cortex. I'm not going to do that. Although that's also another basis by which I believe that the save files are actually not saving your progress directly. They're keying into a preset. Is that I have a vague recollection that I've been in this state before, and rather than actually bother to replay the lab, I just decided instead, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to collect everything I can, and at the point where you've actually got 100% completion in terms of item collection, the game automatically just unlocks the path that... How the hell did I break that box without breaking the one on top of it? Anyway, yeah, the game automatically just unlocks the path to Cortex at the point you've got 100% completion. Because if my theory of this game doesn't save your progress, it just keys into a predefined state is right, then there is no predefined state which has every collectible got, but isn't also at the end of the game. I think the main thing I've got to watch out for on this is just those spinny platforms at the end. They're usually the biggest threat I've got to actually clearing this thing in one life. Oh, what? How did that cancel here? I mean, obviously I did come into contact with that thing, but I thought I was dropping down from the ledge above it. Oh god. I say that thing, it's clearly a lizard. I don't know why I'm being cagey about what type of creature it is. Oh, ceilings. Switch crate over a fire, don't like that very much, that's fine. I want to say this is one of the first gems I actually got at all as a kid. And I was very proud of myself for doing so. Oh. Actually managed to get enough height to clear that. Makes things easier. Still, wouldn't have been good enough for Insane Trilogy because I didn't hit those first blocks of nitros. Right, and this is where I need to start being careful. Because these platforms will just murder me. I know I'm taking it really steady here, but I don't want to fucking take any chances, because if I cock it up, it's replay the whole level again. I can't remember whether you can spin these lizards. Now is not the time to be reminding myself. Right, and this is where I'm probably going to die. And to the middle. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, I don't need this lizard for anything, do I? I do need one of the later lizards, this guy. I need him. Right, that should be everything. That should be a green gem in the pocket. Actually, I will say that the possible counterpoint to my theory that the game just has a bunch of predefined states that it can be in is that I don't remember whether it always presents you with the gems on that completion page in the order you actually got them. I'm not sure. Right, well, I'll show off the hidden route on Castle Machinery, and then we might make an attempt to get the colour gem out of Slippery Climb, and then call it a night. So yeah, you just come up here, collect a few lives, you come back down, and you're at the level exit. And then we get to see every single box that we missed. This will also confirm for us that Crash does not have multiple animation states for that in this version of the game. Because in Insane Trilogy, the more boxes you have missed that drop on Crash, the more browbeaten he becomes on that stage, on that screen. Yeah, so that Castle Machinery was always a go-to level for. So when we were younger and we weren't capable enough to actually complete the game on our own. We did have access to the 100% completion password to actually see what the later levels were like, and Castle Machinery was usually our go-to for getting enough lives to even start to explore these endgame levels. Because as you might imagine, if we weren't capable of getting there naturally, we certainly weren't capable of getting through them having cheated our way there. I will say that this level does actually a really good job of building atmosphere, given the capabilities of the hardware it's on. I mean, obviously, the rain effect is just a screen overlay with a few decals on certain parts of the level geometry to show a dripping effect, but it actually does a really good job of selling what it is you're actually meant to be getting from this. Timing on this is all jacked up. I mean, in some circles, Crash 1, well, Crash is a franchise, but Crash 1 as well, does get quite a bad rap. But for not only the fact that it was around PlayStation hardware, but also the fact that it was a very early PlayStation game. I mean, this came out in what, 96? Visually, it still holds up pretty damn well. I mean, obviously, it's of its era. You know, it's blocky, and in certain locations you do get the classic PS1 texture warping issues, but it has an art direction that kind of has withstood the test of time. Of course, I know in part that's because Naughty Dog kind of pushed the PlayStation to its limits to get some of the stuff out of it that they could. It's been a while since I've read through their dev diary stuff, but I'm pretty sure there was a whole thing of they effectively stripped out a whole chunk of the standard SDK code that you would normally compile in with a PlayStation release to replace it with their own custom implementation that was just removed a lot of stuff that they didn't need and was a lot more compact, just so they could push more, effectively get more memory usage out of the PlayStation for their own stuff, rather than it being consumed by static code of the Sony code that they just weren't using.
What have I got?
Right, rear stage. Another one cleared. Actually, did I clear that one the last time we came through here? I might have done. Can't remember. And I immediately fuck up. What time is it? 1:15. I'll do attempts either until I get it or until 1:30. If I get it, that'll be it. I'll call it a stream. If it gets 1:30 and I've not got it yet, we'll come back and do this another time. Like I said, I do want 100% clear this game before we move on, which is something I've done before, so it's not like, oh god, we're going to be at this for ages, because this is not a new challenge for me. I don't necessarily know how many more streams it'll take me though. The problem is, actually just clearing the game is pretty predictable on how long it'll take you. Because of the no death requirement on getting a gem out of a level, it's for where I'm at in terms of my level of skill, it's very variable in terms of how long that's going to take me to complete. Part of me kind of regrets that I didn't do more attempts at doing Crash 2 100% runs, because I probably could have got that down enough to get a time on the leaderboard that was respectable. The only problem is I wasn't interested in learning movement tech. That's always kind of been my barrier to speedrunning, is just when it gets to the point where you're learning weird movement tech and you're, you know, looking for specific versions of titles and specific revisions of controllers and stuff like that, it's a level of dedication that I don't think I've got the energy for. Certainly not while also holding down a full-time job and a family life and anything like that. It's just, I'd be happy to speedrun a game that didn't have much in the way of unintended that's probably death. No, I'm good. Didn't have much in the way of unintended strats, and mostly came down to execution and what was I saying? Just execution and yeah, just routing, you know, good knowledge of how to navigate the game efficiently. I'd be more interested in running a game that was kind of the prerequisite than one where it's doing something, having to learn techniques that are not natural parts of the game mechanics, if that makes sense. Which I know is a bit of a cop-out on my part. Like, I'm not sat here saying like, ooh, glitch runs or like speed tech invalidates a run. I'm not one of these purist types who think that anything that isn't intended by developers is not on. You know, that's not how I see things. I do find it, as a viewer, I find it very interesting, the stuff that gets put into speedruns in order to optimize them beyond what the developers thought was possible. But, oh shit, I'm dead. But that's not something I'm interested in learning for myself if the level of investment needed in that is above a certain threshold. I don't know how naturally I'm coming off speaking while I'm on stream. I am kind of grateful in doing this that even without having an audience to interact with, because guess what, the chat's still empty, I can at least I was going to say I can at least flow fairly naturally in being able to talk while also playing a video game. And then I did a massive hesitation while I was actually thinking what I was going to say, so natural flow is maybe a bit strong a phrase, but I'm at least having stuff to talk about. This is not devolving into, you know, mid-2000s LP. I've got nothing to say, so I'm just going to hum along to the level of music. I don't know how prevalent that actually was. It's just I watched a lot of Red Supre back in that time, and that was a very common thing that picked up on. I'm sure if... God damn it. I'm I'm sure if I went back and watched a lot of the Let's Play videos now, they would feel a bit mean. I know that. Well, that's first of all, between that and the fact that the general quality of gaming videos on YouTube went up, that's pretty much the reason why Slow Beef and Diabetes and then also Chip and Ironicus kind of stopped doing Let's Plays, because there wasn't as much material to kind of use, and they didn't really want it to devolve into more personal attacks. Like, it's easy to make fun of someone when they've got an unregistered Hypercan 2 logo in the top corner, or when they've using an emulator that for whatever reason every time you load state it brings up the logo of the emulator. But when the average kind of gaming video now on YouTube or Twitch or anything like that is generally fairly good, it's, you don't want to then just try and riff on it by devolving into taking the piss out of whoever's doing it, because it just seems a bit mean-spirited. So yeah, the point being, if I went back and watched the older Let's Play videos now, I suspect there'd be a lot there that wouldn't hold up by today's standards. I don't know. As I say, some of the classics I'm sure are still good. Oh, I've completely forgot the guy's name. The Summit Jolteon. The guy who did the Mario 64 LP, who was extremely British. As a British person myself, this guy was extremely British. And the Billy NT videos are all good. And of course they're kind of, what was it, they're kind of like tangentially Retsu Prey stuff. So there was the Navigator videos, the Gaming 20 Years videos, they were classic. And then there was also the videos that Slow Beef did with Ty Tuesday for the Hearing's Chat stuff. That was incredible. Unfortunately, the company are, well, I don't want to say what the company themselves appear to be, because I don't want to say something that could be legally culpable, but point being, they had action taken to have those videos taken down from Slowbeat's channel. There are re-uploads, they're not impossible to find if you're searching for them, and they are amazing, but yeah. Yeah, this level has a reputation for being bad, but it's downright generous compared to Stormy Ascent. Never mind. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to play Stormy Ascent off this copy of the game unless I... in fact, no, probably not at all, because I'm playing off a physical disc on PlayStation 2. Are there any disc-based cheap systems on the PlayStation 1, or are they all based on the parallel I/O port on the back? I wonder. Right. That's the easy bit. The hard bit's getting back out. There we go. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, I've not been swearing much on the stream, but that nearly blooming sent me ballistic. I should not survive that. Right, I cannot for the life of me remember which level the blue gem's in. I think it's another one of these the levels on the third island, but I do not know. Right, well, I'm pretty sure I just saved. Probably should have been paying more attention to what I was doing, but... I did say that I was going to call it a day once I'd either got to half 10 or got on that gem. Let me just actually confirm that I saved. Yeah, 70%, 6 gems, that looks right. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember about the password system, is that every quote-unquote super password starts with 2 triangles, and that extends the password field to 3 rows. I did used to remember the 100% clear password off my heart, but it's been years since I've used it. Right, well, I'll call it a night there. We got to the first ending, and we've got some of the harder gems out of the way. I'll need to remind myself where the remaining 2, I think, colour gems are. Probably collect those first, just because then it saves us having to worry about going back for them. And then, yeah, we'll just mop up all the remaining clear gems. Right, is this... I was going to say, is this demo desynced as well, but it can't be because it went towards the camera. So what was going on with the other demo? Why was the other demo so messed up? Oh. Okay, clearly they wanted to show off their death animations in the demos because they're just stopping you being killed for no good reason. Oh well, right, that'll do for now. I might be able to stream again this week, don't know, it's a very changeable week, but after this week, the following 2 weeks, I should be fairly free, so I might end up having a bit more of a consistent schedule. It depends what else goes on. I think I'm going to end up going to the arcade one night in the next couple of weeks. Which part of me would really like to be able to stream that, but I need to get like a GoPro or something, I guess, and then have a stable enough internet connection while I'm there to be able to actually broadcast, and I don't know whether they would want any approval from their side before I could do that. I don't know, this whole thing. Something to think about. So though, I'm planning to pick up an e-amusement card, because I've got a DDRA machine there, and wanted to keep track of high scores. Not that I'm the best at DDR, like, I think by modern DDR I'm still only on basic difficulty level, which is like the second one up. Back on like Euromix arcade machines, that was standard. That was the middle of 3 difficulties. But at this point, DDR has moved on a lot, and I have not moved with it. And it's something I'd like to get better at, but I just have not had the time to practice. Well, not only the time, but also the resources. Excuse me, this Bailey's is coming back up. Yeah, it's why was that checkpoint box closed? You just spawned at it. How does that work? Yeah, how is that checkpoint box closed again? That does not make sense. Yeah, I have a dance mat at home, a hard one rather than just one of those like soft fabric ones. As far as I can tell, the electricals in it work fine, but there's something up with the panels. I think it's just that the sponge underneath them is too degraded to properly operate the... So all the panels they're just a card panel. I don't know if it's made of card. Laminated card with a conductive material on the back. And on the actual dance mat surface itself, it's just a underneath each panel is a circuit board with two kind of circuits kind of intertwined with each other but not meeting. So the intent is meant to be you step on this panel, the conductive material comes into contact with the circuit board, creates the circuit, and registers the input. And again, that appears to work. And then obviously when you step away, the sponge that is kind of underneath the panel is meant to give, effectively lift the panel back off to break the circuit and release the press. Again, the electrical part of it seems to work. Making and breaking that circuit registers inputs. I just think the panels themselves are they're either not making clean contact when stood on, or they're not releasing the contact cleanly when stepped off of. I've been meaning to get some new sponge to kind of replace it and see whether that improves anything, but again, it's just a case of having the time to do it, and it's not impossible that won't work either. I mean, if I really wanted a big project, I could strip the whole thing down and rebuild it from scratch. So long as the electricals in it are fine, you wouldn't have too hard a time rebuilding it altogether, but that's probably beyond my capabilities. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is not even related to Crash Bandicoot here. I'm just talking to an empty stream. Right. Yeah, call it a night.